What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the German Bear Podcast. And today I want to talk about the round 4 and round 5 of the Chicago Bears in the 2023 NFL Draft. The Chicago Bears made 4 picks in the 4th and 5th round of the 2023 NFL Draft at day 3 so far. Still round 6 and round 7 still left, and we definitely got 2 more picks. Maybe the Bears want to trade back up for a player. We never know, but as of right now, we got 2 more picks in this draft, but got a bit of a drought now through round 6. But we had 4 huge picks in round 4 and round 5 that mostly I absolutely love. I think value-wise, we got really great steals, insane value deals here in round 4 and 5, and I can't wait to break down what those players can bring to the Bears. Just for a quick overview, who we got now with those 4 picks, we got Roshan Johnson, running back out of Texas, which is a huge get. Also, we did get another offensive weapon at receiver for Justin Fields and Tyler Scott out of Cincinnati. Then we got Noah Sewell with the 148th pick, and then with the last one that we got 165 in round 5, we got Tyrell Smith, cornerback out of Minnesota. So the Bears address offense twice with 2 skill position players and defense twice with a linebacker and a cornerback. And overall, just to get it out of the way with the discussion, should have we gone edge or center? Like for me, Luke Whippler, the guy from Ohio State, is still on the board, and that's somewhat concerning because I thought he could have easily went in round 2 or round 3. So there has to be an issue that some NFL teams definitely don't like him. But as for edge and the other positions that might occur as a big need for the Chicago Bears, I think the Bears made a heck of a job here of not overdrafting players, just letting the board develop and picking the best players available on the board. I think Roshan Johnson was the best player available at 115. I think definitely Tyler Scott was the best player at 133, and as it looks like right now, Tyrell Smith is an absolute steal as well at 165. So with that being said, so excited to break down those players for you guys. And let's start off with the first player that I want to talk about today in Roshan Johnson, running back out of Texas. The Chicago Bears traded down with the New Orleans Saints from the 104th spot to the 115th spot and got an additional pick. I think it was pick 165 of the 5th round, which turned out to be a huge value deal with the player that we got there too. But for Roshan Johnson, I'm so excited for this pick. Quickly, just talking about running back, I think the running back room isn't set at all at the moment. I really like Deontay Foreman. Personally, made a film room episode about him, but I think his roster spot is not as safe. I think Travis Homer, his running back spot on the team, is not as safe, and I think Treston Ebner is definitely one that could potentially leave the team. Now, could it still be the case that the Bears carry 4 running backs? Yeah, it could very well be the case, but I think personally, after watching Roshan Johnson's tape now as well, I think he clearly has a shot to be the number 1 running back for the Chicago Bears that carries most of the runs. And then just Khalil Herbert could be sprinkling in as just a lightning to the thunder that gets tons and tons of extra yards with just being the fresh-legged guy. But for Roshan Johnson overall, he's a 6', 219-pound running back, and I absolutely love this pick. He's a big back that will be the true thunder, like I said, to Khalil Herbert's lightning. As for his pros, I mean, first of all, he does everything, which is crazy. He lined up in the backfield, out wide as a receiver, in Wildcat as a quarterback. He returned kicks. He was a great pass blocker. He was also used as a lead blocker, like versatility-wise. He is top of the pops. Also, what I love about him as a runner, he's a very patient runner with good vision. Against UTSA in Wildcat, he had a crazy play where he followed the lead blockers, had really good footwork around the blocks, then found the perfect bounce out opportunity and even hurdled a guy on the play. So just displaying all his abilities there on that play alone. He recognizes cutback lanes fast. He is very just a big back as well, just a physical runner. He can really truck and fall forward, has a vicious stiff arm attached to him as well, and then overall has has real good balance too, and pretty damn good burst through the gap as well. As for him in the passing game, I think he has pretty good hands as well, kind of underrated. I think some said he had some drop issues, but when I look at the tape and see what kind of catches he's able to make, I think he has pretty good hands, just had some concentration drops, but he can definitely work on that. Made some effortless catches, real smooth catches, some one-handers that were incredible, and I also love him on play action. Just get him open, right, scheme him open, and then he will catch it and get some good yards after the catch as well. As for the rest, I mean, he has great return ability too, plus really clean blocking reps where Pats really just popped on those reps, and I think he's just such a huge addition to the Bears. As for his cons real quick, I think his deep run burst is not the best in this class. His lateral agility and wiggle could see some improvement or could be better, and like I said, had some drops, but that's not a huge problem for me. But Roshan Johnson, the second running back on that Texas team after Bijan Robinson, obviously that superstar running back, but he's a very undervalued, underrated player that was just running in that shadow of Bijan, but I'm so glad that you have him now on this Bears offense. He's a massive get for everybody on this organization, and with Roshan Johnson, I think the Bears absolutely landed a massive steal. And with that, we want to move on to the second player that the Bears picked, I think still in round 4 with the 133rd pick. The Chicago Bears selected Tyler Scott, wide receiver out of Cincinnati. And this is probably my favorite pick at day 3 of the 2023 NFL Draft by the Chicago Bears. With the 5'10", 177-pound wide receiver, the Bears landed a huge, massive steal in my opinion. He's a guy that could have easily went in round 2 or round 3. As for his pros, right away, I think he's just a straight burner that will run past you with his 4.44 40-yard dash. Lots of force in that one. But I think he's even faster on tape when you watch him. He's just overall a natural separator with some real good hip sync at the top of the route, which I always love to see. And he also doesn't need a lot of steps to throttle down, which is so important. He has crazy good foot fire as well. He attacks the cornerbacks leverage so well too on out routes and all the kinds of different routes where you give him tons of off coverage, because he's just such a deep threat that corners will mostly play off coverage against him nonetheless. But he does a good job attacking the leverage, and also just ran a post against Arkansas, which was just nasty, attacking outside the frame of the corner to sell a corner route and then just pressing off of the plant foot to burst open on that post route. It was a bit overthrown by the quarterback, had really not a good one there at Cincinnati in my opinion, but crazy route there. So really love his game already, and then also has some really good hands to snap over the shoulder, deep passes, and really good eyes while he catches as well. And then also just some crazy adjustments on some horrible thrown footballs, which was really tough to watch. And then also against zone coverage, I think he has really good feel for the space. Shifty with the ball in his hands as a yak threat too, and then just the blocking is really good too for his size and thinner frame. I think he has lots of effort plays, which I always love to see as well. As for his cons, obviously, like I said, his frame is a bit thin, and he's still learning the position. I think he's only switched to wide receiver 3 years ago from wide receiver, so huge development already, which is such a promising thing too. And with that, he still also has to work on some fundamentals. But for me, he's wide receiver 4 immediately on the team, but could very well be wide receiver 3 or even wide receiver 2, depending on what the Bears do with the expiring contracts of Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool. But in round 4, this is a incredible steal for the Chicago Bears, and I absolutely love having Tyler Scott, another weapon for Justin Fields here in Chicago. And with that being said, we wanted to talk about the third player that the Chicago Bears selected at day 3 of the NFL Draft, which was Noah Sewell, linebacker out of Oregon. And I know linebacker was not the biggest need for the Chicago Bears after spending big in free agency, but I still think the depth at the position is still a big problem. And for me, Noah Sewell was one of the better players still available on the board, just once again letting it falling to you and making the best player available yours is kind of the philosophy that Ryan Poles approaches this year, and I don't mind it at all. He's a 6'1", 246-pound linebacker, really big linebacker, and for his pros right away, he will be a very specialized player on this defense probably, but the big pro is definitely his run game, and just overall his physicality against the run is second to none in this class. I think he's shedding blocks really fast and getting through the lineman to make the tackle with ease. He has very good instincts to recognize ball carriers fast and attack. Good gap patience too against the run, I think, and then just overall raw power with really good speed to be a downhill run defender for the Chicago Bears moving forward. Also pro for him is probably pass rush as well. I think he has some really phenomenal pass rush moves and just a pass rush repertoire developed already, and will just be a phenomenal pass rusher for an off-ball linebacker for the Bears. And I think that's the two biggest pros that you have with him, the run game and the pass rush. As for his big con, I think it's overall just the coverage at this moment. He's not agile and flexible enough in his hips to flip them fast. Also, the eyes get caught looking a lot at the quarterback, and he also just lacks the elite instincts against the pass, which just you simply have to have. And then he also doesn't have elite range. But I mean, overall for him, he's a player that has insane hustle, always tries to get to the football, which is also a point, just fits perfectly with the hits principle. He's a downhill linebacker that will be a menace against the run already in his career, and can also be caught on some blitzes 3 to 5 times maybe in the game, and can be very effective on those plays. Like I said, more of a specialized role, but he should be a very fun player that Matt Eberflus definitely wants on his defense, I'd imagine, and I can't wait and see what Noah Sewell brings to the Bears, playing twice now against his brother Panay with the Detroit Lions. And with that, we want to talk about the last player that I got today, the last pick that the Bears recently made before round 7, where I expect us to have the two last picks of this year's NFL draft. And with that, we want to talk about Tyrell Smith, cornerback out of Minnesota. And Tyrell Smith is a player that I personally did not have on my radar. He's a 6', 204-pound cornerback that very much impressed me after watching his tape now for the last half an hour. And I think he's an absolutely insane value pickup for the Chicago Bears this late in the draft. For his pros, to talk about him right away, he's just such a smooth mover. As for a cornerback with really good change of direction and hip flexibility, he has great size and length for the position, which is always key. A very good press corner that can also excel with some bail technique in some situations and off coverage as well. Has really good ball skills, just playing the catch point so aggressively and not shying away from it, which I love. Always make sure also to turn his eyes to the ball to not cause any flags, or just at least lower the chances of getting a flag. Also has the speed and quickness to stick with receivers on deep crossers, which was impressive on tape, and also has very good eyes. One play against Purdue where he had a crazy read and react play where he identified the play, triggered down so quickly, and made a big pass breakup. Phenomenal stuff right there, and overall just dominated against Purdue, against Charlie Jones, who is a wide receiver who was picked in round 4. So also day 3 of the draft, but I'm not sure where exactly when. Could have been round 3 as well, but a pretty good wide receiver, and he locked him down for the entire game, always attached to the hips, didn't allow a lot against him. And then I think he's also a pretty damn good tackler as well. As for his cons, the only thing I saw is pretty much his angles in the run game, and overall his technique could improve a little bit. But I think overall Tyrell Smith might be one of the biggest steals that the Chicago Bears, and they got a lot in this year's draft class, honestly, because some really good players were falling into their lap. They stayed patient and got them, but Tyrell Smith is a insane value cornerback that I still think is very much needed, because yes, you got Tyreek Stevenson and got probably your first 3 cornerbacks set, but the depth for me at the position is very, very thin. And with Tyrell Smith, you got potentially a future starting cornerback, and if Jalen Johnson, as much as it hurts personally, doesn't get that contract with the Chicago Bears, I could very well see Tyrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson being the outside cornerbacks of the future for the Chicago Bears, and Kyler Gordon being in the nickel. But for now, we got 4 really, really good cornerbacks, and the secondary is just absolutely looking phenomenal. And I haven't even mentioned Kindle Vildor, who definitely improved last year as well, even though I'm not the biggest fan of his. But for me, day 3 so far is a big win for the Chicago Bears. Insane value in both of those rounds, and I'm just so excited what those players can bring to the Chicago Bears in the future. And with that being said, that's the end of the episode, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Definitely let me know in the comments down below what you think of those 4 players, and did you like the fit and just the value at those picks. Like and subscribe if you liked the video. Check out Instagram and Twitter if you want to as well. And as always, guys, bear down.